climate change is real. It is here. Now there's a difference between global warming and climate change, and so, we lean more on the climate change because it's so many factors that contribute to that. A lot more carbon in the air. They're telling us to reduce our carbon footprint. More carbon, less carbon dioxide in the air. But as some of the things we can't control, like there's going to be more people, there's going to be more cars, there's going to be more manufacturing to make products for people. But the way that we're trying to combat that here at the tribe is we're trying to be more green. We're trying to initiate the electric cars. We're trying to just to be a little bit better stewards of the land and whatnot. We see the effects of climate change here, even in Creek Nation. We see the influx of the temperatures, like right now. They're so extreme. They get so cold, they get so hot for a longer extended period. Back in a couple summers ago, we had the temperatures that went over 100 degrees for X amount of days. And now, just here recently, we had it where it was so cold it was below 32 for so many days. So now we're seeing the extremes of the climate change. We're seeing 100-year floods, what they call a 100-year flood. You'll have a flood every 100 years. Well, now we're seeing 4 or 5 100-year floods in a decade. We're seeing more and more of this extreme weather. We're seeing more violent tornadoes. We're seeing more violent heat stress on our grounds. It's soil erosion. There's just a lot of factors that play into this climate change. It's a stress on our elders, extreme heat and extreme cold. It's a stress on our agriculture, on our crops. Our growing seasons are changing a little bit than what they used to. It used to be, you go by the Farmer's Almanac and they'll tell you when to put the potatoes in the ground and all that good stuff, but it's not quite that way anymore. We have to worry about putting crops in the ground and it getting too much water. We have to worry about our harvest season, our haying season, our livestock. We're worried about the water in our aquifers being recharged. Right now, Texas is the #1 state that uses the most water for livestock, but we're not far behind. And so that's a big concern of ours. It's about having good water to us, to the native folks, and Mvskoke Creek Nation is no different than any other native tribe. Good water, good air, good land, and that's what's taking the effect on it right now is the climate change on all those. It's affecting our ecosystems, say like our birds, migration, butterflies. We're not seeing as many of the small little animals like we used to. When I was growing up, I won't tell you when, but it was in the 60s, we used to catch these horny toads. You're not seeing, those are almost gone. We're not seeing as many squirrels. We're not seeing as many turtles. Our frogs are starting to disappear. It's slowly starting to take effect. If you're out in the woods and in the fields, you'll see that. You're not seeing as many salamanders. You're not seeing as many lizards. You're not seeing as many of the smaller critters. So that's taking an effect on them because of the different stresses, floods and dry, and just you never know what the season's going to be. So here at the tribe, we're trying to take a good look at all this. We have received a grant from the EPA to do a climate change study. Frank Harjo and GIS department and our department have paired up to do this climate change study. It's a 3-year study, and we will be monitoring our air temperature, soil temperature, water temperature. We're looking at winds, and then we're going to gather some data. We're going to have these different stations throughout the Creek Nation on our tribal properties, and we'll be able to start getting all this data. Like, we'll be able to tell when the ground temperature changes, when the air temperature changes, and see how big a change it is. Because like right now, we had like a 20 or 30 degree change in one day. It's just getting so impactful. When rains come now, It's nothing to get 5 or 6 inches of rain right now. I mean, once it comes, we get it all at once. It runs off and it's gone. You know, we got to be better stewards of trying to capture that. We want to irrigate down at our farm, and so we're looking at several items of climate change that do affect the Muscogee Creek Nation. We would like to have more educational outreach to the citizens and even to our council, to the effects of the climate change, and just make them aware that what we're trying to do to help study that and gather data for the Muscogee Creek Nation.